All right, folks. 12:02. You're not in your seat. Where are you? Yeah, right. We'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully, Jerry has been spotted.
Here I am.
Oh, there's Jerry.
Here I am.
All right, for guests and visitors, my name is Steve Fairley, club president, and I'd like to welcome you all to what I think is the 47th year of the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club. Great to be back. Okay, today's invocation of Pledge of Allegiance will be offered by Jerry Cass. You'll prepare your hearts and minds as you pray to your higher power. We pray today for those in need around your world. Help the leaders with wisdom and will. We pray today for our community, for those who are ill, hungry, and shut in. Help us here in our club to be mindful and helpful to those folks. We pray today for our club members. Hold us in safety, good health, and good humor, so that we may practice the four-way test and to remember service above self. For these things and those prayers on the hearts and minds of those assembled, we all say, Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jerry.
Sure.
Okay, today I'm also your sergeant. So get your money out and bless us with your happy dollars. Who's got a happy dollar?
I do.
There's Court. Okay, Court.
Just came back from Seattle to watch my granddaughter graduate from the University of Washington. Lovely, lovely weekend.
Very good, Court. Glad you could be here. Joe.
I have a happy Canadian dollar. And I would just like to say what a tremendous travel agent Ro Moro is. We just came back from 10 days in Vancouver, Canada, with a little side trip into the Rockies there, and wow, tremendous. So I'm mostly that, but not entirely emotional.
Joe, come up here and get the pot. One, for leaving the United States, and I don't know why you want to do that. Secondly, stop by Court, because he's up there in that northwest corner, just like you are.
That's right, he was.
So you grab a hold of some of his money, and we're not accepting Canadian dollars.
I did the conversion already.
Your treasurer has an affinity for US bucks. And so there's Don Motley, and he's got some money in his hand.
I do. I'm going to have two. One, because this week I got to see my on their way, as they were traveling through on their way to Washington. My youngest brother, his wife, and his two youngest kids, whom I had not met before because of the pandemic. One is 3, one is 2. So that's one. And the other is that although I wasn't able to make last week's meeting because I had to go to an exciting tax conference, Jim Farmer could tell him, service, probably how exciting that was. And just seeing the First Lady at our club, I did get to see the governor and the First Lady the night before. So I'm glad that happened. And I think everyone here should put in $1 if they've got air conditioning and power. Because I have plenty of friends that they can, even if they're with Building Columbus, who don't have power today. And this is not a good day to not have power today. Thank you.
I have no comment about the power. You know, they do this on purpose, so thanks for that. Other than that, I'll recognize Pete. because he's taller than the rest.
$2 Judy's two older, three daughters are coming in, one tomorrow, one on Monday. Be with her for the trip up to Philadelphia, the Delta Gamma Convention. And Judy's very, very happy.
Very good. And Pete, just keep standing, I know there's a $2 limit, but when you give happy dollars with a mouthful of food, you know, put in another buck. And this one's for you, not for your lovely wife.
I got it.
Our president has something to say.
I do. I'm just happy to be back from the international conference that I was at Saturday to Wednesday. It was a very fun trip. It was kind of inspiring. It was very interesting to see people from all over the world, you know, people that I'm like-minded with. It was just, it was a very cool experience. So if you get a chance to go, I recommend it. Yeah, I'm just happy to be back.
Very good. We're happy you are back. And I know a couple other people who are happy you're back. Teresa's one, and Jim Farmer's another, and
I'll contribute about that.
Court.
You know, one more weekend, 2 weekends ago, the Rotary International Scholar that we mentioned 30 years ago to today came to visit us with her family from Los Angeles. You may remember she got her journalism degree and before it was actually dry. While she was in Los Angeles as the news anchor, Mandarin News for the Los Angeles area. During the 30 years, she had two daughters, one of them graduated in MIT a couple of years ago, and working as a consultant in New York. And the youngest daughter is at Berkeley. And so that was a lovely, lovely weekend. It was kind of interesting because as we were reminiscing about some of the days back when she was in school, the daughters were hearing some of this for the first time. So it was kind of interesting to see their response. Oh, you guys did this? It was great. And that's worth it.
Thanks for the update, Court, because it's always nice to hear about the efforts of the club. But of course, Court had such a great influence on this young lady that she turned out so well. I don't think her parents had anything to do with it. It was all Court, I'm sure. Any other happy dollars on Zoom? Okay, well, you can all put in a dollar later. Don, what'd you say?
I thought I saw a hand up.
Oh.
He's just putting his hand up.
Okay. Okay, well, today, you know, Americans like to celebrate a lot of stuff. And today is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. So I'm not going to ask you if you were ever abused or abused anybody. I'm just making that general announcement. But it is beer day in Britain. So if you've ever had an ale or ailed, then put in a buck. Today is Global Wind Day. That means solar power, not windy people like me. So I'm not putting in a dollar. It's also National Prune Day. So if you've ever shrunk up from too much swimming, as probably, put in a buck. It's National Smile Power Day. Nothing, never mind.
What's that mean?
It means when you smile at somebody, you really have a lot of power. You change that. But we all know that. It's Nature Photography Day. I'm reminded that some of you will remember, most of you wouldn't even have thought of it. We actually had a speaker here one Wednesday at La Scala from a nudist camp. And I thought that's what they were talking about when they said nature photography, but I don't, it probably isn't. It's also Sneak a Kiss Day. So when you get home, sneak a kiss with somebody. All right. We're nearing the end. I know. Go with me one more time. Here's your 3 dad jokes for the day. Pick out one of them that you particularly don't like and put in a buck if you haven't already hit your $2 max. This one goes out to our president. To whoever stole my copy of Microsoft Office, I will find you. You have my word.
Oh.
Hey, I just delivered this stuff. I didn't write it.
That's a good one.
I used to work in a shoe recycling shop. It was soul destroying. Here's one out of my real life. It's actually true. My boss told me to have a good day, so I went home.
Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Guess I'll do the clap. Don't clap for the song. Come on.
They only clap if they don't get fined, and they're all fined.
Jerry, please put $1 in for taking my script.
Uh-oh. It's already got it put away.
Well,
You put in $1 for needing a script.
Well,
I mean, this is the 47th time you've done this.
Okay, I do know what's coming next though, and that is we have a new member introduction.
Hey, can we do our meeting Zoom? When I came back from vacation, I took a COVID test.
I don't think that was for us. Or was it?
Yeah.
Or now are you talking to us?
I'll wear a mask and sit outside now.
I don't know. Sorry, Darnell, I don't know. Anyways, so I've been derelict in my duties. We have 3 new members that need to be inducted, and we are going to induct one of them today. Adrienne Knowles, if you please come up here. On behalf of the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club, it is my privilege to induct a new member today. Adrienne, you are beginning a great adventure in leadership, friendship, and service to your community and your fellow man. You have been invited to membership by your sponsor, Peggy Murgatroyd, and the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club has accepted you as a person of good character, high ethical standards, and a person who has a heart of service and will represent your business classification as a leader in the community. We encourage you to learn all you can about Rotary and share your own professional and personal skills by actively participating in club activities, including attending weekly meetings, social events, and service projects. Furthermore, you will be provided with many opportunities to serve others through club service, vocational service, community service, new generation service, and international service, known as our avenues of service. Our club is known for the great work in the Worthington and Dublin communities and in the Dominican Republic and Mongolia. We welcome you in helping us change lives. While you have been invited to join a worldwide organization dedicated to the ideal of service, it will be through your own actions that you become a Rotarian. I am proud to be a Rotarian, and it is my pleasure to provide you with a pin by which your fellow Rotarians and the community at large will recognize you as a Rotarian, and we ask that you wear it proudly. Here is your pen. Oh, we got a little bit. There, like I said.
Thank you.
There you go. And you also now get your official red badge.
All right, thank you.
I also have a challenge for you.
Oh,
It is for you to share the invitation that was given to you by your sponsor and to invite another person of your same qualities of character, reputation, and commitment to join our club within the next year. The honor of becoming a Rotarian is only surpassed by sponsoring a new member. Do you accept this challenge?
yes.
Thank you. I also have a challenge for our members. Developing strong relationships among members is one of the keys to the success of our club over the past 47 years. Members, do you commit yourself to do your part in making Adrienne feel welcome and to assist her in getting engaged in the club?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. With that, I declare Adrienne Knowles duly inducted into the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club. All right. All right, now we're ready for announcements. Who's got announcements? Win.
Yeah, I'm on the program committee and we're getting ready for next year. And so next Wednesday after lunch, I'd like to have a meeting with the members of the committee. We're also open to having a couple of other inductees into the program committee. The program committee is a great thing. You get to meet people. They are, hey, you're Dublin Worthington? Yeah, I'd like to come out and talk to you. It's very enjoyable to have an interaction with people in the community, to have them come and talk to our club. So next Wednesday, if you know, come and talk to me, I'd like to invite you to participate. We do need to have 52 speakers next year or a program like that. That's what we're all about.
Thank you very much, Win. Jim.
As hopefully you are aware, in 2 weeks, as an evening program, we will be having our annual induction of the board and officers. Please come out and support Steve in setting the tone for this next year, and have your reservation in by next Tuesday by noon. So again, please go home. We'll be sending out another email if you lost the first one. So please do register.
And we'll be here from 6 to 9 on June 29th. Cost is $40 an attendee, but the club is subsidizing half of that, so it's really only $20 per person. There's a cash bar. There'll be me talking. What else?
Nothing at this, there may be a surprise.
There may be a surprise. Rotarian of the Year, you'll find out about that. So make sure you register. I'd love to see it. Jerry or Joe, do you guys have any announcements? Or shall I make it? All right, we have our big 4th of July family picnic coming up in about 3 weeks. Next month, it's coming. You should have seen an email asking for volunteers. I think it's about half filled in right now, maybe a third. But we definitely need volunteers for things like the food tent, coordinating day of, coordinating the day after for cleanup. So if you, well, I'm sure another link will go out soon, but please, if you're available, sign up to volunteer. Okay, I think that's it. I think, Lynn, we're now ready for our program for the day.
I'm here today to introduce to you Rod Crane, who is on the board of International Friendships Incorporated. And we're going to talk about international recruitment of students that come to Ohio State. And it's similar in its outreach as to our NGSE program. They have some differences. Ours is for like 3 weeks a year. Theirs is different in length of time. And Rod is kind of in the board of directors and kind of running that. He has a neat background. He started, or he retired in 2014, but he was the chairman of MedFlight, the helicopter and transportation for hospital. And he came to us from Minneapolis. He put together a consortium because there were competing helicopter companies and they couldn't quite arrange that. He's pulled it together and he's going to possibly mention a little bit about that, though his primary reason for being here is the international friendships. He started way back when in about 1975. He became very interested in spiritual matters, and so he has a seminary degree, and he kind of came up through the healthcare. He was even a person from, let's see, a Christian radio, a disc jockey, newsman, radio engineer, and then he finally worked for CBS TV in Detroit. So about 1970s, he joined the healthcare administration field, and that's how he's kind of morphed into today's activities. So today, Rod's going to share the work that IFI is doing to help the international students in Ohio and 17 other states feel welcome and home in America. Please welcome Rod Crane.
There we go.
Well, thank you, Steve, for helping set this up, and Wynn, thank you for the introduction. Yeah, I've had one of those strange life journeys. Most people are interested in MedFlight. They've seen the green helicopters flying around Ohio. And I was brought in about 1974 to merge Grant's Lifelike and OSU's SkyMed. Some of you may remember that. And the community put pressure on them to stop competing for this very expensive product. So that was a great journey. I was president and CEO of that company for 20 years and then retired. I have served on the board of the American Red Cross chapter in Columbus here. I still am a lifetime board member and have had a great journey with internationals, working with the Chinese in particular, helping them prepare for the 2008 Olympics, doing medical venues at each of the competitions. They have to have a medical tent. And when we first went to China in 2014, I put together a group of about 12 Red Cross experts from around the country, and we shared a symposium on trauma. Because if you remember in Atlanta, there was a bombing, and I was at the Atlanta Olympics after that. And so there was concern that this terrorism could occur anywhere in the world. And they asked us to help them kind of plan for that type of eventuality. And it was a great journey. One of the things I'm getting to is that we had a delegation from America go to China, Beijing in particular. The president of the American Red Cross in New York after 9/11, he was a busy guy. He had a lot of experience. The chairman of the Atlanta Red Cross, she had to deal with the trauma of that and respond. So we had a lot of good experience to share with the Chinese, and we had a delegation go 3 different times. And then we would invite their delegation to come to the United States. And they would always come to San Francisco, Columbus, and New York. So we felt pretty good that Columbus was in one of those chain of touring events. What I would like to talk about today is international friendships. This is an organization that began in 1979 through the work of one woman who invited some international students at OSU into her home. She was from a church locally, and that's how that began. I've been on the board of directors 5 years. out of a 6-year term, so I will be concluding my work with them in the near future. What I would like to do is share with you a small, short video about what the International Friendships actually does for students when they're here, and get a feel for it. And then I will talk about some of the data, some of the facts about international friendships, where we're at. I'll share a few anecdotal experiences my wife and I have had with internationals. And then I believe we have something in common with outreach with internationals that we are going to talk about possibly a bit later. So if you could start that video. Here.
I was a little nervous when I went to pick up a student for the first time at the baggage claim, but now I'm actually really excited to do it again. That first, somewhat awkward conversation led to a friendship that changed the way I see the world. I'm glad I stepped out of my comfort zone.
It was great watching the student's reaction as we helped him move into his apartment. He was so grateful.
At first, we wondered if we'd have anything in common, but gradually we realized we had quite a bit in common. He became a good friend to our family.
It was great getting to know her. The language barrier really didn't stand in the way of love and relationship. I can say that I really enjoyed our time together.
I think it's awesome and such a privilege to have conversations about my faith with friends from all over the world.
I know that the friendships I've made through IFI will last a lifetime. It's really given me a greater perspective of the world, and I'm so glad I got involved.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Making the world feel at home. We feel that's our, not a slogan, it really is what we're about. We're a faith-based organization, and it's that love that we have experienced that make us want to share with other people coming to the United States. Our mission is to extend life-changing hospitality and friendship to international students out of a reverence for Jesus. And our vision is that God's love extended globally in partnership with spiritually vibrant international students. And as a young person, when I was in college, I was seeking something. I was missing something, and I found, and I understand when folks are here and without a home, far from their family, they need love. Our organization has grown from just in Columbus to a variety of states. And this happens when people have come to school here, they've worked here, been participant with international friendships, and they move to another location and feel that they want to extend love and hospitality to internationals in their other towns. Right now we have a chapter, we'll call them, in Champaign, Urbana, Illinois, here in Columbus, Gainesville, Florida, Cleveland, Dayton, Cincinnati, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Rochester, New York, Peoria, Illinois, Athens, Ohio, East Lansing, Michigan, Houston, Texas, Ann Arbor, Charlottesville, Buffalo, Hammond, Indiana, Muskegon, Ohio, Boston, Rochester, Fort Wayne. And these are volunteers who feel the call to be hospitable to internationals coming to America. Our core values for IFI, we value intimacy with Christ and love for one another. And the ministry approach we have is that we value hospitality in partnership with churches. The culture in America is often centered around the church. And so we do partnership with about 56 churches in the area to get volunteers and outreach hospitality in various communities. We have a discipleship philosophy in that we value life involvement discipleship as a process. We don't just invite somebody over to our house one time. We have a continual relationship with them and try to just care for them until their studentship is over and they go back to their home country. And we have an organizational philosophy that we value God-honoring stewardship practices. I'm on the board of directors, so there's 8 board members, and we have a very tight budget. We have about 60 staff members, and we have about $1.4 million in budget. And so there's an important aspect of being a good steward of the donated dollars that have come to us. And then the question comes up, why do we serve internationals? Well, we believe God loves people from all nations, every nation. The nations of the world have come to the United States to school. And so this is a great opportunity to welcome them, share the American culture with them. And we know that they're going to go back to their countries. And there's a strategic impact that we try to have with them to let them know America loves other people. We're not just a big old country that's greedy and wanting the profit all the time. We like profit, nothing wrong with that, but we want to share the real culture of America. And they go back to their communities and advise people what America is really like. You can see on this international map, these are locations that students have returned to. And so we have a global impact. When they go back home, they're not staying here to work, they're going back to their countries. And we have one individual, Yasser, in Sudan, who came here to college. He fled his country when there was war. And he went to school here, went to Bible school, he went back, and he developed 7 churches, and International Friendships continues to support his outreach there in a very Muslim country. The Columbus impact, international students in Columbus, would you believe over 8,000 are here. The students served, including conversation partners, which I'll talk about in a moment, about 1,100, and they're from 80 countries. Average number of students that do participate in Bible studies, and it's not required, it's just their interest in what the religion's about. About 17 groups and 130 students weekly. And as I said, we partner with about 56 churches right now, and we have about 1,200 active volunteers. I've been a volunteer for quite a few years and then was requested to join the board. Some people ask, well, how can we be involved if the students are coming to Columbus in particular or other parts of Ohio? We believe, as you start your meetings out with, that prayer makes a difference. And so praying for these students that they would find friendship and love here in America would be the first thing. Serving is another option. When people come to America, we put together welcome bags for each student. And we work with OSU and other colleges, their admissions department, and find out who's coming. And that's how we get the name of the individual coming to the airport. But each of those individuals gets a welcome bag. And I have some flyers back there on the back table if anyone would be interested in participating. And we really need some help if you're willing to do so, because last 2 weeks ago, we had a fire at the International Friendships office over on Old Henderson. It's the old Breathing Association building we bought about 3 years ago. And it's we had a fire in the lower level, and it just smoke damaged everything, water damaged. So we're closed for a while. We have 1,000 of these bags ready to go with donations in them, and they're all ruined. So if anybody wants to get involved internationally, take a brochure or look up our organization, ifi.org, and you can link that way. Another way is to become a volunteer. An official volunteer is requested to host students, go to the airport, help them with their luggage, help them buy some old furniture at rummage sales. One of the big roles we play is getting together with internationals coming to Columbus and being a conversation partner with them. My wife, for example, she volunteered and said, well, I'll be a conversation partner. She had 2 students, one from China and a married woman from Korea who spoke very little English. And so she would meet with them every week or 2 weeks and have coffee and just talk. These people want to learn English. They're here. We have an opportunity to teach them a bit. And so just talk about family and help them understand the language better. That's one of the major outreaches that we have for with international friendships. I participated with an ESL, English as a Second Language program. This is where various internationals come, and many churches host these. But there are, I think, in other locations in the community. If you want to connect with a international, find an ESL program and volunteer. Basically sit around and talk about family, and you help them with their English through this conversation. It's very low-key, low impactful, and an enjoyable experience. We also have had the experience of bringing a Ukrainian student into our home some years ago. He was going to go into political science. He was here for his doctoral degree. And I think about him and I pray for him in Ukraine now. He's probably in part of the political environment that they're suffering. And I just continue to lift him up in prayer. So there's a variety of ways to get involved if you wish to participate. This is a photo of part of our group here in Columbus. Young people, varied ages, races, ethnicities. And so they are really enjoying the work with the international students. And as I spoke with Wynn last week, he is indicating that Rotary has a new generation's service exchange, and is wondering, is there some way we can do a coalition in a small way with international friendships if some of our people want to participate? And certainly there could be conversation partners. There could be any of the other things that you saw in the video that you could work with. But we're open to discuss that, and we would encourage you to look at participating as a volunteer with the Rotary, and maybe there's a coalition that we can work out with the Rotary and international friendships. Cross-cultural experiences are great. I heard somebody was in Canada. Well, that's kind of cross-cultural, but others go to Europe and China, and you learn a lot and you share a lot, especially if you have an opportunity to bring people into your home and share your culture and just your life with them and learn and ask about theirs as well. So that's the overview of international friendships. I'd be open to questions or suggestions about anything we want to consider. Gwen?
Any qualifications check that you say, well, we welcome you in, or you're here and you represent Muslims, or?
Well, again, the internationalfriendships.org would be a place, if you want to volunteer or inquire, just go and somebody will respond. Again, we need some help with bags right now. And if you want to be a formal volunteer, we do have some training, because Muslims coming to the U.S., Hindus coming to the U.S. have dietary issues. They have cultural issues. And we do have training if you want to step into a volunteer role, but that requires some additional training. So you know kind of what you're getting into and how to approach and what not to do. I learned a lot when I went through training some years ago. Yes.
Where does much of your funding come through?
Our funding is basically personal donations from individuals. Not unlike Rotary, we don't get grants. We have individuals that are supporting staff members. Every month I support a family member to a degree, and that's just part of the call. Some people are called to serve others full-time, and some of us work full-time in the shop or in the office, and our way of working is to serve them, to help them do what they do with internationals. So it's a voluntary donation-based organization. Some of the churches in the community also do provide grants to international friendships. So once in a while, we'll have a grant for some specific program or purpose. Our church, for example, hosts a Christmas dinner at the church, and they celebrate, have a program and bring these people in, and they're very interested in the American faith part of it anyway. And we volunteer to serve dinner. My wife and I, we wash the dishes afterwards and serve the dinner, and they just come as a family. And it's really quite interesting to see a family of 6 or 8 from Ethiopia come and they're hungry and they're ready to eat, and they are fascinated with the trappings of the church and the program and what Christmas was about and all of that. It's very interesting. So that's another way.
I do. I was remiss in not adding to my introduction of you. George and Rod met in an unusual circumstance that I'd like to provide here. There was an issue, I guess, a property issue.
Yeah, he owned some property and they wanted apartments in our neighborhood, and we were not happy with that.
And so they had opposing
Yeah.
positions. And out of that, they become friendship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here you have conversation, oh, you're doing that kind of thing, and all of a sudden George says, hey, let's hear about your world.
Yeah, it was interesting. Very difficult issues in the neighborhood. Someone else had a hand. Yes.
Part of your mission to persuade them to become Christian?
No, that's not the mission. The mission is to give them love and share. For example, we had the Chinese vice president of the Chinese Society into our home when they were here seeking some help. And we're not ashamed of our faith, our Christianity. And they saw that we had a cross in our house. We never talked about it with them, but we are who we are. But when we were in China, in Beijing, on Easter some years ago, they said, would you like to go to a church, Christian church on Sunday, Easter Sunday? And we thought, wow, that was something I didn't see coming. And so we were connected with an appropriate church, Methodist church, that was sanctioned by the state, and we attended. So it's just an opportunity. We also talk about their faith. Some of them are Buddhists, some are Muslim, some Hindu, and we learn from them about their faith. But that's part of our culture. That's part of our culture. If they want to know more about our faith, I share my personal experience. My journey is different from anybody else's. I found, I have a different journey, and that's okay. They're interested. So we share that. It's not required at all. If you're not a friend, it's going to be difficult to share in depth with a person. It's just programmatic then. Good question. Steve?
Thank you very much, Rob. Appreciate you coming to speak with us today. Good, well, so next week we will have Bessie Pandora, Executive Director of the Short North Alliance, and she'll be discussing the latest developments and happenings in the Short North. Yeah, I tried really long to think of like a long South joke, but I couldn't think of one, so sorry. All right, before we wrap up, we have a raffle.
Okay, we have $10 in the weekly.
$10.
$10, and we have 235 for the Ace of Spades. We have a card here today.
We have the cards. Who needs to go first on that? On the Ace of Spades?
Well, I think that Jim Miller did the draw last week. Should we let him draw?
I think we should let him draw.
Let's just let him draw before we draw different.
Right here.
I heard pick a good card.
Depends on your definition.
Yeah.
Pick any card, any card, anything but the ace. Ace of spades.
Oh, you know, I was afraid that was gonna happen. I don't have that card with me.
Yeah, well, I do.
Yay, Jerry.
The proceeds for today go to our DR scholarship.
Let's get a new deck out.
All the proceeds will go to the DR scholarship. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Okay, so how much was it? Well, now it's nothing like that. How much was the last? 235. $9.99 for $10.
$9.99.
Okay. It's just a deck of cards.
So I can't remember when the ace of spades is one. Yeah. So there should be $10 in there.
$10 for the ace of spades, okay.
Okay, right here. It's in the deck. Of course, I have sleight of hand. It may not be in there. When somebody
Okay,
picks.
are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, for $10, the number is 3.
Hey, now.
Okay.
Like 7-3.
There you go.
I'm on down.
43.
Still in there? No. It's not in there.
I'm watching it. It's
not
okay.
in there.
The magician Jerry.
Yeah. Okay, pick a card, any card. All right, I'll guess what it is. It is not the ace of spades.
What was it?
Or a diamond.
Four of diamonds. Oh, good. Thanks for playing. All right. And I guess we're, we're around the longest time for the four-way test. If you repeat with me of the things we think, say, and do first.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair for all concerned?
Third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth.
Will be beneficial to all concerned.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. We are adjourned.
Okay.